Kia ora, g'day, welcome back again, everybody. Here with, I think this is part 3 or 4 in terms of the reaction. I should have had a proper look to Jamie Pennell, former New Zealand SAS team commander, and Damien Porter on the Damien Porter Mind and Muscle Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, I think it is. So let's jump back in.
And again, that's how chaotic it is. And so at that point, it's like, all right, cool, got one more guy there. Let's go and sort that out. So we put fresh magazines in our weapons, and then started making our way towards that location. We moved down the northern stairwell, back down to floor 5. Once we got down to the 5th floor, we could see that the fire had been put out. And right at that time, believe it or not, 3 aircrew dressed in their whites with their, wheelie bags, the little carry-on bags, wheeling over the rubble of the 5th floor function room, went past us. We said hi, they said hi, and then we said bye. And they said bye, and then they went it's just, yes, it was crazy, and they just, obviously going out to Kabul International Airport to, jump in their jet and take people out to wherever they're taking them to. I'm not too sure. So they managed to survive. Anyway, so we went around the western side down the balcony, and between us and the entrance to where we shot out of, there was like this air conditioning ducting.
Just thinking about that scene where he spoke about these pilots from in their whites with their little carry-on wheelie bags. Jamie and his team said hi, they said hi, then they said bye, and they just carried on. It must be, man, just as Jamie recounts that and shares that particular moment, it must seem pretty surreal, like just random. It seems like it would be random, not random in the sense that it is a hotel, so you'd expect that pilots and what have you, stewardesses, hostesses, whatever, are there in the hotel, but just to see that, I suppose, that scene with those guys coming out, just making their way out over the rubble, seems like they were pretty casual about it, the way Jamie describes it anyway, just there and then. But man, that'd be a strange, it just seems hard to sort of picture that happening. And I think that's probably why Jamie said, believe it or not, this is what happened. But again, another reason why I think this should be either a documentary or a movie or something. I figure if I say it enough times or repeat myself enough times, something might happen. People out there might hear it, or it might land on the ears of the people that need to hear it, and then they can do something about it. But yeah, adding in all these little things, man, just out of it. Anyway, let's crack back into.
And then past that, we could see the expended cartridges and a magazine, and we're like, okay, cool. There was this firing point, so let's. We discussed whether we were going to throw a grenade or throw in a flashbang. Decided to throw in a flashbang. Just in case. Obviously we had some civilians coming out, so we just wanted to get some distraction going before making a entry. So threw the flashbang grenade, went off. We're just about to move forward, and then we got hit by the inner cordon again, and this time it was significant. And so the only thing we could do, and it was just a saving grace, is that they were firing a little bit high, but it was still hitting these. They had like concrete. It must have been reinforced concrete. I don't know what you call it, balustrade, or just the way the side of the building was built.
Right.
Obviously, they're just about a meter by maybe a meter of this concrete. So thick with reinforced concrete. I don't know what was in it, but it shielded us. So we all just leaned right in on hard against these concrete panels, and just rode it out. And I looked around, and there was behind us was one of the Afghan policemen. He was sort of he had his head around the corner watching us taking fire, and I was yelling out to them saying, get them to stop. And then I got on comms, and I could see the rounds impacting on top of the just above us on the wall. And I was just hoping it wasn't going to be anything like, I wasn't going to see big impacts of, 12.7 impacting the wall, because it just sort of, we would have, been exiting pretty quick,
Yeah.
So we're there for a bit, and it went on, and then the guy, I got on comms and just got our interpreter to yell out to them and wave his hands from the top. It stopped.
Bloody hell. With everything that's happened, and then up to this point, if you haven't seen the other, if you, first of all, probably might just want to watch the full interview without me interrupting. So I'll have the link in the description of this video, so check that out. But with everything that's happened that they've been through up until this point, to then be getting brassed up again by friendlies, by the inner cordon. And I get it, the inner cordon don't know who that is or where that's coming from, but it just sort of, highlights the level of training, the lack of experience, the comms that aren't there, the lack of awareness and understanding from the inner cordon crew. To surely they would know by now, we've got friendlies up there. Yes, we don't know if they're still enemy, but whoever's making that call and that decision to start brassing up, just letting rip up in that area because they've heard a flashbang or they've seen some figures moving along, just seems crazy to me. And it's just that lack of training and that lack of awareness and the miscommunication. Local police looking around, just staring at them and not having the wherewithal, it sounds like, to just, hey, contact the team downstairs, contact that inner cordon, tell them to just pull their head in and take their finger off that trigger, and we will let you know as we go if we need to communicate, if we need fire support onto a particular part of this building. But right now they're just hindering everything. Anyway, let's get back into listening to Jamie.
Said, is everyone okay? And Steve automatically came back saying he'd been shot through the side of the head. So he was in front of me. Basically what had happened is one of the bullets had ricocheted off and gone through the side of his head here and just skimmed around his ear. So he had blood pissing out. So I had a look at that and I said, all right, let's get you out. So we made our way down to the bottom, and I decided at that point that it was just getting too chaotic. We'd been, obviously, by that point we'd probably been there for 8 hours. We'd been moving through the building. We'd done our job. Essentially, there was one guy left. There was about 100 odd security people on site at that point, and they could deal with the last guy themselves. I wasn't going to, just felt like we're moving into
pushing it too much.
Just pushing it too much, and someone was going to get killed at some point. We had a small team. I'd consider a whole lot of different things. So we decided to get Steve to the hospital and then make our way back. And I can't remember what time in the morning that was, maybe 5 a.m. Started making our way back, and then we got a call that the CRU were coming back to the hotel to deal with that guy. And because they were going back, we had to go back. So sort of met them. We met them halfway in the city.
Yeah.
Steve carried on to hospital, and then we made our way back. So I got them.
I reckon Steve probably would have been annoyed about having to carry on to hospital, but just given the way that Jamie has spoken about him and described him, just it doesn't seem like something Steve would have willingly wanted to do. To go, like he's probably the sort of person, just whack some duct tape on it and get me back in the fight, I'll be all right. Especially them knowing that there's one person left, but it makes a heck of a lot of sense. What Jamie's saying, there's like 80 to 100 plus local security forces now. There's one guy left that they know of. Go and sort him out. But CRU are back, and so because they're going in now, Jamie and the team have got to, by the sounds of things, turn around and head back in as well.
Together, and I said, hey, listen, firstly, don't leave the hotel unless you've got us in tow. Like we're part of this fighting force. Just let us know what you're doing. and then organise them into groups to do a proper fight back. So they had all the different groups go through the hotel again. And the group went up to the 5th floor, and basically they went around the same way we did, around the balcony, started making their way over the air conditioning ducting that was there, and it triggered an IED effectively, and it was a grenade on a tripwire.
Yeah.
So we heard the explosion. We're down the bottom. The hotel manager came running down. He had a big chunk out of his arm. And he said, "Oh, there's still some guys up there." So we ran up there and talked to another hotel worker, and he was telling me that he'd seen one of the terrorists disappear into I can't remember what room it was, maybe 525 or 526. I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And so I was like, "All right, then, cool." So we cleared that air conditioning ducting with our EOD guys. Went into the 5th floor and started slowly making our way through each of the rooms. Now, again, we had to do it manually because we didn't have snip charges and that kind of thing. We used the CRU first, but they blew out pretty quickly, so we had to help them out doing manual entry. Anyway, got to room 524. And
sorry, I've paused it. I just picked up and just replaying in my head what I heard Jamie say a few seconds ago. They had to, they had no snip charges. They had no explosive method of entry stuff on them by the sounds of things. So it was manual. So door kicking, whatever they could use to manually get into the rooms. And I think I heard him say they used the CRU to take the lead on that. But when I heard him say they blew out pretty quickly, the way I'm interpreting it, unless I'm wrong, is that they gassed out, like they ran out of ticker to keep manually speed, aggression, all that sort of stuff to get into the rooms. And again, just a testament to the training, to the discipline, to the resilience of Jamie and his team, the guys there, part of that unit. There's a reason that there's those types of selection courses and processes in place to make sure that you can still fight and that you still have not only the courage to do that, to still fight, but the energy, the strength, the fitness, the physical ability, the mental resilience to be able to stay in the fight. And so Jamie and the lads now, after going through all of that, 8+ hours already, heading out, then heading back into it again and back into the work, just relentless. So it's cool to hear Jamie speak about it. Sorry, that piece just popped up. Don't want it to seem like having a crack at the CRU. Like, obviously they were receiving training. Jamie acknowledged at the start that this probably, he's recognised that they needed to take the lead. Him and his team needed to take the lead because the CRU weren't prepared for an option like that. And but still doesn't make it any easier to sit and listen to and thinking about all the work that Jamie and his crew have already been through, and now there's still more to go, and there's still one more person. Also, the EOD. He mentioned the EODs that cleared that ducting and stuff where the grenade was triggered. Jamie didn't mention if by that grenade being triggered, if anybody or if any of the CRU were killed or impacted. So hopefully there wasn't. He hasn't mentioned it, but maybe there was.
And started making entry. As soon as the door cracked, there was a massive, massive explosion. And there was about 3 guys in front of it. 2 of our guys got thrown back against the wall on the opposite side and in a heartbeat. And some of the CRU guys got dropped as well. I was on a 90 when they were clearing.
Yeah.
Within about a metre, and it just went straight away. And then everything just went into slow motion at that point. Never had this before in my life again. Everything went into slow motion so slowly. The dust cleared and I could see CRU guys crawling their way out, injured with, looks of disbelief on their faces and shock, coming past me. And I just remember grabbing them, pulling them past me and sort of getting them behind me and telling them to get down the back of the corridor there to get out of the way. And then I heard someone call out, "Man down." And And so, yeah, one of the boys was laying slumped up against the wall. And unfortunately, it's that scenario that you train when you're on your cycle of training where it's always the heaviest guy with equipment on. So it's
Every time.
the 100 keg guy with another 30 kgs of body armor and weapons and stuff like that. So
I shouldn't laugh, but I hear where he's going, and I guess that's why they choose, I suppose, one of the larger people during your courses, a man down, break contact drills, whether it's in the jungle, whether it's anywhere on any task and training. They'll pick one of the larger people. I remember actually, to go off topic slightly, on my Australian cycle and the patrol procedures. And oh man, I forget his name. One of the instructors, tall guy, really awesome dude. I forget his name, but I can picture his face clearly. Bloody rubbish on my part forgetting his name, but he was awesome. But and this isn't why he was awesome, by the way. He just had a really good way about him. Great instructor, great knowledge, very, very humble, like just an awesome man. And anyway, he come up, and while we were assaulting and attacking on one of the actions, and it must have been, I didn't know it was the last one, but it must have been the last one based on what happened. And then he come up and then just tapped me and said, "You're down, you're down, stop firing and stay here." And so, yeah, I had to stop. I was easily one of the heavier ones in regards to my team. And the poor lads had to carry me for a while. So I won't mention the names because I think a couple of them, or the ones that I'm thinking of that were carrying me, are still serving. But very, very lean. Actually, his nickname is Zulu. He carried me for ages, man. I just remember that he didn't want to. I don't think he wanted to let me go, and he would have. Just a testament to the guy. He would have carried me all day and all night if he had to. If there's nobody else. He's about maybe 75 kilos soaking wet, maybe. Oh man, I don't think he would have been 80. I'm sure he must have been about 75, maybe 77 at the heaviest. Lean, just, oh man, yeah, fit, strong, mentally tough, just a really, really good human. And yeah, like many of the others in that there. So anyway, I got what Jamie's talking about there, what he could see. It sounds like he's having flashbacks of his cycle, and yet the heaviest dude, the 100 kegger with the extra 30 plus kilos worth of body armor, ammunition, equipment on top of that. And then, yeah, he's probably going to have to drag him or carry him or do something to get him out of there and start rendering first aid, I guess. So let's see what he has to say.
And I reflected on this later on and said, well, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
So he was lying on the ground, and I don't know how I did it because I was weighing about 10 kgs lighter than I did in New Zealand, but I managed to get him up, pull him off to the side, asked him if he was all right. He wasn't really responding, so took him down the end there, put him in a chair, and he had, I don't know if you were any smaller, if you were a smaller guy than he was, I'm not too sure if he would have made it.
Wow.
He took the full brunt. Because essentially what had happened is that the door was, as soon as we cracked the door, the guy who I talked about before, he was talking to his handlers sitting on the bed. He basically just walked up to the door, boom.
Wow.
Faced himself, just directly straight in front. And, obviously, there was a large window behind him, so a lot of the overpressure probably would have gone in that way, but it was definitely directed pressure. The fire door may have, taken a bit of punch out of it, but man, it was a big hit, enough to concuss him. So I took him out. He started going into shock pretty rapidly. Could see ball bearings in his arms and I think in his shoulder. And so we had to shake him out of it. Then got into doing a bit of first aid, and then I moved back out again to see how everyone else was. And at that time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was someone clacking off their suicide vest or
a claymore or anything like that.
Yeah, or anything like an AOD attached to the door. Given we'd seen that, and one of the boys said, "Oh, it's one of the terrorists clacked off I said, how do you know that? And he said, because his head's at the door. And so I looked there, and then, obviously the head pops off when they're wearing the suicide vest. So yeah, it was very interesting. I mean, the door, the whole room was a complete mess. So we pulled everyone out. All the.
Can you just, man, I'm just picturing that scene. The guy, understandably, suicide vest and that on, clacked himself off. Head's gonna pop off, But just that scene, he's clacked. How do you know that? Well, his head is right here. A fairly telltale sign. I've never seen that, but these guys clearly have and would have come across that, and it makes sense. You're wearing that vest, things are going to pop off in different parts based on that explosive device, the suicide vest that they're wearing. That's commitment right there. Same as these guys here, same as Jamie and his team. Their unrelenting commitment and mission to go in there and to get these guys, to stop them from doing what they're doing or to take them out. They've chosen, Jamie and his crew have already accepted and have already made the decision. They know that there's no guarantee that they come out. There's no guarantee that they come back home. That could have been the last time that they had spoken, or the day before, or whatever it was, the night before, could have been the last time that they ever spoke to their loved ones. So they understand that and know that going in, but equally, the term enemy is used, but equally the people that they're going in to try to get them to stop what it is that they're doing, to either capture or kill them, take them out, they're equally committed. And the evidence of that, listening to what Jamie has described and spoken about, is pretty clear and obvious. And there's plenty of other examples, where those that have been committed to their cause have gone right through, fought tooth and nail, right to the death.
You guys patched them out. Obviously, we had a medical station, and it was at that stage that we had to call it a day. I had 2 guys down within a small team. I had to think about the next job, that we're going on, which we're already planning for in a couple of 2-3 days, and the fact that we'd be down a few numbers. So it was pretty significant. And I think one of the things I mentioned was I was the ground commander through this whole operation, which is what decisions were made. So we pulled out, made our way back, and left it to security forces, and they basically did the final BDA, cleaned everything up. They did a full search of the whole hotel with their. They had their EOD teams, Afghan EOD teams that were supported by the Americans as well, and they found a number of different IEDs in and around the hotel, and it's just lucky that we didn't trigger them. So essentially. Essentially, we had kind of, with one small group, cleared a hotel pretty much, and dealt with these guys, given that at the time we didn't really have a force, of CAU that were up to it. So went back, had a bit of brekkie when I saw the boys in hospital. The guy that took the full brunt of the explosive on the 5th floor, he got flown out to Germany straight away. Steve got his ears sewn up and was keen to get back on with things. No surprise there. Went back, and man, we're on the helos probably within a week, back out, hunting guys down. So
RTA, listen to that. Just massive respect to the New Zealand Special Air Service Regiment, to Jamie and his crew. Just a testament, in my opinion anyway, testament to their professionalism, to their commitment to the cause, to the mission, for each other, their training, their skill, their expertise, their experience, and the understanding of why they were there. They were there to work. They're there to do a job, not there to just take photos and go on holiday and then look back and say, look at where I was. They were there to work. And work they did. So massive respect to Jamie and the crew here on this team. Less than a week later, back on the choppers, back out hunting again. But again, no different to the guys in Australia, no different to 2-2, no different to the Americans, Canadians, etc. All, that group of the Five Eyes and the SF units from those countries. Nothing but respect and appreciation for those people, for those units.
It's just another day in Afghanistan. I mean, we didn't. Yeah, I mean, one of the boys said, there was a pretty big operation. I wasn't too sure. I'm not too sure where my head was at, but I think I had to reflect on that. But yeah, it was a pretty significant night. I mean, that's the short version, I guess. A bit of a snapshot, but
wow. Even the short version is a blinking. It's a movie, man. In my mind, in my opinion, thinking back to the other two reactions done of what Jamie's spoken about, just get some people, the writers or the movie people, the documentary makers, whatever, get them to sit down with this guy and members of his team that were there if they're willing, and get this stuff down and Lincoln, or maybe Jamie, write a script. Write a script for the movie as per how it was. No extra fluff or BS, just have it as it was, and get that to the best of your memory and confirm with your team. And man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome to see, like, the visual of that. Much sort of like, I suppose, that 13 Hours movie, Benghazi. So that would be, something like that. I don't know how accurate that one is, but this one here has the potential to be made pretty accurate, and that would be awesome if they did something like that. That's the short version. Holy hecker. Anyway, I'm going to pause this one here because it's nearly 30 minutes, but really enjoy listening to Jamie speak about this. Love the way Damien just lets it flow away. Lets his guests, and in this case, lets Jamie just take the reins and explain as long or as short as he likes. So we got the short version here, but man, I could sit and listen out for the long version. It would take me longer to get through a reaction on that, but man, I would gladly do it. So anyway, thank you very much, Jamie Pennell and your team. Rest in peace, Steve Askin. Appreciate you, bro, and your service, and your family as well. So yeah, how blessed we were to have you amongst us, physically doing the work that you did, not only in the Defence Force and in the unit, but your time out, and tragically whilst trying to help out with those fires, losing your life in service. So just rest in peace, brother. To Damien Porter, awesome job, bro, with your interviews, with your channel. Great to see you still smashing it and thriving. And good to see the guests, the caliber of the guests that you have on your show. Thank you to those that have spent any time here. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Just appreciate you. To anybody going through any challenges, trials, struggles, difficulties, heartache, man, all I can do every single time is just try to remind you to keep turning up, to keep staying in the fight, to know that you're not alone. Everybody's going through stuff in some way, shape or form, but know that you're not alone. And to just try and stay as consistent and as disciplined as you can. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and know and trust that the sun will shine again, that better days are ahead and better days are coming for you specifically, regardless of how miserable things may seem. So just keep turning up and stay as positive as you can. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation and gratitude for you all.